Today we're going to have a look for any evidence to support the story of Sodom and Gomorrah. Is there anything left to prove Genesis 19? You would think that if such a catastrophe were to happen, and at such a large scale, then there might be some evidence to prove this story. Today we look at some potential evidence to back this scary account. So our first question is where? Now we know Sodom and Gomorrah were located in the area called the cities of the plains. Next we need to find where exactly this is. To find the location of Sodom and Gomorrah, we need to look at an ancient battle, the Battle of Sodom. In this battle, 5 cities came together to fight a common enemy at the Valley of Sodom. The cities named are Sodom, Gomorrah, Admah, Zeboim, and Zor. The Valley of Sodom gives us a clue as to where the battle took place. Today we know this as the Dead Sea. Now we know our area of interest is the Dead Sea. So we can take a look at some of the discoveries made in this area. Our first location of interest is on the southeast side of the Dead Sea. There is a large area of land that is a slightly lighter color to the rest of the land. Looking at it from above, you can clearly see this color change. Let's investigate why this area is a lighter color. According to some who have actually been to this site, they say what they find there is a thick layer of ash everywhere. This is odd considering most of the area of the Dead Sea is sand or salt. Another interesting find here is formations that appear to have melted. The Bible describes the cities being destroyed by fire, which is why an area that has a layer of ash makes this our first potential location for Sodom and Gomorrah. We will come back to this location later on because there are more interesting discoveries made here. But first we need to take a look at another potential location. A new discovery has been made north of the Dead Sea by Dr. Stephen Collins. According to Dr. Collins, the site he has started excavating matches the Bible's description much better. Dr. Collins claims that the Bible is the only surviving text that mentions Sodom and Gomorrah, and this is why he says we should be looking at all the clues given to us in Genesis 13 and 14. In Genesis 13:10 it reads, "And Lot lifted up his eyes, and beheld all the plain of Jordan, that was well watered everywhere, before the Lord destroyed Sodom and Gomorrah, even as the garden of the Lord, like the land of Egypt, as thou comest unto Zor." From this verse we can begin to understand that Sodom and Gomorrah were in a part of the Jordan which was very green and well watered, like a garden, even comparing it to the Garden of Eden. So it's unlikely that the cities of the plains were located anywhere along the Dead Sea, because as you can see, it is very dry and desert-like. So where is there a plain full of well-watered and green vegetation? Well, it's in Jordan, which is north of the Dead Sea. In verse 10 it says Lot could see the plain of Jordan where he was standing, which from verse 3 we know that Lot is at Bethel and Ai. Bethel and Ai is located 12 miles north of Jerusalem. Then in verse 11 it says Lot journeyed to the plain of Jordan eastward. So from the information we now have, we can confidently say that the cities of the plains would have been on the north side of the Dead Sea. Then, when we look at our map again, we can see that the only real green and well-watered part of the lower Jordan is here. So what has been found at this location? Since 2001, Dr. Collins and other archaeologists have been working on this site. Over the last 22 years, they have found over 1,200 pottery vessels, stone and mud brick walls, a clay oven, and many melted mud bricks that have turned into glass. All throughout this site, a layer of burnt and scorched material can be found. Dr. Collins calls it the destruction layer. You can see it very clearly in this photo. An interesting discovery made by excavating this area was the discovery of many satellite towns, which would have been Gomorrah and the other towns and cities as described in the Bible as the cities of the plains. In the Bible, the largest city or town is always mentioned first, which is why we can assume this main site that Dr. Collins is currently excavating is Sodom. There are so many more discoveries to be made at this site, but we still have the previous site to investigate. The previous site we talked about has a layer of ash that's covering the entire area, a thick layer of ash. And dotted all over the place, sulfur balls, just everywhere. The interesting thing about this is that these are the only sulfur balls of its kind anywhere on Earth. So I hope you've enjoyed this video and found it interesting. We've only just really scratched the surface of the discoveries of Sodom and Gomorrah and the other cities of the plains. If Sodom and Gomorrah and the cities of the plains were discovered, and they are real, this could be one of the biggest discoveries and most controversial discovery ever.